welcome to the second ever Trans Tuesday. I'm your host and enby extraordinaire, Jae Rodriguez. It's technically Wednesday here, but whatever day it is when you watch this, I hope you enjoy it with all the trans-tastic-ness that is intended for Trans Tuesdays. Okay, so last week I shared some of my experiences from my new job and challenged you to help trans people by introducing yourself and sharing your name and pronouns. This week we're going to take a step back and really kind of like look at what my intentions are for Trans Tuesday, so that you get a better understanding of how you can relate to and amplify this content. So let's jump right in. I do not speak for all trans people. I cannot say definitively that my experiences are the same as all other trans people or that other non-binary person that you happen to know from work or YouTube or wherever. Which brings us to several very important questions. Who is Trans Tuesday for? What is the purpose of Trans Tuesday, and what are my planned outcomes for Trans Tuesday? So, Trans Tuesday is inclusive of everyone, all gender identities, but I am choosing and framing content specifically with cis people in mind. Specifically, I want to challenge cis people who want to be better accomplices for trans and gender nonconforming people. Even more specifically, I want to challenge you, my friends and my acquaintances, and some of you actually are as of yet just my internet friends, but I want to challenge each and every one of you to take simple, direct actions in your regular day-to-day lives that can make real, tangible differences in the lives of trans people and ultimately everyone, because everyone obviously benefits when we make the places in our lives safe and welcoming to all people. And the places in our lives will not be safe and welcoming to all people until all people include trans and gender nonconforming people. Okay, so y'all still with me? It's important to me that you, my friend or acquaintance, know that I expect you to stand up for me. I expect you to show up for me by using your unearned privileges to make the places in your life safe and welcoming for all people. If you're my friend, I expect you to show up for me. I don't have access to all the places that you have access to. I don't know all the people that you know. So I really need you to show up for me. I'm not asking you to call yourself an activist or go to parades or marches or protests. Like, if you want to go to those things, that's great. But first I need you to show up for me in your regular day-to-day life. Like, I don't need a hero. I need friends who care, like, who don't tokenize me. Friends who care, who check in on me on days when it's especially hard to be trans, days like when we hear that another trans person has been abused or beaten or murdered. I need friends who care, who check in on me even when they don't hear about violence against trans people. I need friends who care, who make space for trans people, even when they don't think trans people are around, because trans people don't need to be visible to cis people in order to experience violence at the hands of cis people. Does that make sense? I just need you to use your unearned privilege to make space for me in ways that I can't. So put your unearned privilege to work. Amplify the voices of trans and gender nonconforming people who are in your life. So that's me, and that's other people that you know. Like, it's great if you share like stories or posts from the trans and gender nonconforming people who are like celebrities or really well known. Like, that's important too, but like, listen to the people who are actually around you, people who are in your life already. If you don't know trans people in your life, you are probably not paying attention, or those people might not feel safe to be trans around you. So you need to as a cis person, do something to change that, right? So that's my little bit. So this is your weekly challenge. I want you to examine your unearned privileges. Examine your cis privilege. Examine your class privilege, your white privilege, your straight privilege. Examine your unearned privileges. This bears repeating. Examine your unearned privileges. There's so many resources online, so I'm not going to list them all here. And please don't tell me that it's a burden to examine your privileges, because that's like the epitome of privilege, right? So I want you this week to examine your unearned privileges, specifically your cis privileges if you're cis. Okay, so that's it for tonight's Trans Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you come back next week when we talk more about misgendering. Have a good night, y'all.